And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, and dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then paining from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. Take me down, so God made a farmer. Take me down to the little white church.
Today's episode of American Family Farmer takes us west to the hamlet of New Woodstock, New York, and Creekside Meadows Farm. The farm is identified as a diversified, land-healing, grass-based family farm featuring grass-fed beef, pasture-raised pork, and chicken.
Thank you for having us come to the farm. I think.
Welcome.
How important do you feel for your farm is the whole local part of this whole networking with other farmers and other people in the area?
Well, farming's a big part of the community. We take up a lot of open space, and we have a lot of road frontage right here, and
Right.
people driving by. And if they like seeing the farm like this, it's important that they support the farm so it stays looking nice and open space and the green grass and the animals out there instead of more houses going up.
So they're not only people looking for good organic food, but they're believers in the cause too, right? So it's kind of like you have someone who's passionate about it because they believe that, they want healthy food. They want to know where their food source.
They want to know where their food source comes from. They want to know how it was raised, especially, for any of it really, but a lot of people really like to see the animals out on the grass.
Yeah.
Being able to express themselves, like the pigs are out here. She's over there making mud, which is what pigs like to do, and till in the ground, and then the cows are out eating the grass, and
Beautiful thing.
and it's a safe environment, and we have people stop by all the time. It's pretty clean, fairly good smelling.
It's got some different unique smells to it.
Yes.
All right, so speaking of the smells, how many different animals do you have that are producing manure here? You have chickens, you said.
We have chickens,
You have
pigs,
cows.
cows,
So that's the meat you offer. Fresh.
2 pet ducks and 2 pet geese.
They'll never be eaten,
No.
will they?
No, they're pets.
Do they act like guard dogs, like a lot of geese do?
The
Or
geese,
rah,
the
yeah?
geese can, yeah.
You're registered as a commercial enterprise, or is it a not-for-profit, or how does
It's a for-profit family farm business.
a family farm? And is
Yep.
this the first generation?
My husband and I are the first generation, and
You
then
came
our
and bought the farm then.
Well, we started in Lafayette with the original farm
Okay.
that we actually just ran it as a homestead and then started selling product.
Lafayette from here.
20 minutes.
This is New Woodstock. 20 minutes.
20
Okay.
minutes. And then we bought this farm, 150 acres, 6 years ago.
That's a nice chunk of land,
Took
150
the business
acres.
to the next level
Yeah.
for the next generation.
And you said, I think I saw you at the Cazenovia Farmers Market. I believe you told me then that it's getting dicey for people like you to find the land, right? And be able to afford it.
Yes.
So it's really a blessing that you,
We looked for over 2 years at properties trying to stay in the Syracuse area. We were originally looking to go from our 26 acres, we were looking to go to like 60 to 80 acres. And you would think, oh, that's easy to find. But to find it on good quality land
right?
that's gonna support what we want to do here
Yeah.
was really hard. And we are actually looking at a farm 2 miles away from here that was 60 acres. And before we could buy it, they subdivided it.
So when we
So it
drove
was
in
hard.
here, geographically, it seems like we came down into this.
Yep,
Or did
we're in a little valley.
So it's a nice little valley. Must be. It
Yes.
must be a pretty big valley.
I'm not sure how long it is, but
But it seemed pretty
half
long.
mile away is Dryder Reservoir.
Yeah. And acreage, you said you had, I think you told me 120 on this side and 30 on the other
Yes.
side of the road.
For 150.
And how does
per-
that break down to like woods or grass and?
It's roughly right now about 75 acres of open pasture land, and then the other half is wooded.
Yeah.
But some of that wooded is getting fenced in
Yeah.
this week. Another 25 acres.
Right. You told me you put up triple strand electric.
4-strand electric.
You won't bite with me.
Right.
Hey, now that was darn right rude.
She will blow her nose on you.
What's her name?
Red. So she has 11 piglets in here and there. I think they're 3 weeks old tomorrow.
Will she charge if you go after the pigs? Will
No,
she,
she's really, really calm.
She's not like a Siamese cat.
She
They're
was
like
in
very
labor,
cute.
and we could go in there and check them all out and
Yeah.
stuff, and she just laid there and snorted with us, and she lets us handle them and do things. She trusts us.
Yeah.
She's been with us since she was 2 months old.
So this guy behind you in the camera shot, this is your bodyguard?
This is
Your
my
hu-
husband, Matt.
Matt, I've seen you around the farm here. Thanks for having us here today.
I'm glad you're here.
How's it work as a team? I mean, are you the bookkeeper
Well, he has
and
a-
whatever, and you're the milker?
He has
or
an off-the-farm job.
Oh, yeah?
He just happened to have this week off. He usually takes the week off around Memorial Day.
And what do you do off the farm?
I work as a mechanic for equipment company.
Oh, good.
weekend?
So 100 years ago, that would have been 1917. This would be pretty common for some families. This would not be an uncommon thing. Like now, when you talk about somebody who's got pigs, they have this and they have this kind of, well, that's kind of unusual. Some people would think, not me, but some people. But it's really kind of a
Back
natural
then,
thing, right?
it was very common.
Yeah, and
They
for,
supplied most of their own food right from their farm.
and for our
so they had
area,
access.
I mean, that's a neighbor, but that would have been another farm that milked cows and whatever they had. You know, usually it was within sight. You could count them, but now it's mostly owned by big farms. They buy up the little ones.
So you said we've got 30 cows here.
30 something, because there's babies out here, and we had a bunch of babies.
Is
this
it
year.
male and female, or is it all
It is a mixed herd.
mixed herd?
So there are mom cows,
Yep.
there are 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds, and newborns.
Wow. And you had said they've been grazing on this piece of land. And this side is how many acres? Or this pasture is how many acres?
This pasture is about 18 acres.
18 acres. And you told me before when on camera they started where grazing and then they...
A month ago, they started grazing this field, and they get moved to fresh grass morning and night. So they would go through this on a planned rotation. They finished grazing this a week and a half ago. They went to the west field. They did the same thing through the west field, and then yesterday, I think it was midday, they were done grazing there. So we had to move them all the way over here. Let them graze that section for the afternoon, and then this section overnight, and then the spot they just got around 9 o'clock this morning.
And with you working full time, do you take care of the responsibility of moving the herd, or who's that responsibility?
I've been doing the cows, except he's home this week, so he's been doing it. Except I did it this morning.
And what's it a matter of opening a gate and then just, come on, girls, let's go? Is it difficult?
The whole fence, the whole field has a perimeter fence that's high tensile electrified, and then we use portable fence to section it off for that day. And it's a poly twine that's electrified. It has a stainless steel wire running through it. And we have reels and portable step-in stakes. And we just put out the stakes, run the wire through it, jump right to the main fence to electrify it. Very lightweight, very movable.
Yeah, I saw a few spools on the way in.
So when I want to set up the next section, I just set up their section and I just reel it back, and they go walking in through, and I close it behind them and hook it back up.
So we can, I mean, they're right there. You can see the reels, and we can
there's
direct
one.
them and move them pretty much anywhere we want.
Right.
And they know when we're moving stuff that it's time to move again.
And what is the, what type of cow is this? What type of beef cow is this?
The foundation has been Hereford and Belted Galloway.
Well, it's a mixed.
So some of the moms out there are purebred Hereford, and then they were bred to Belted Galloway. Some were bred to black and white. Originally, our bull was a black and white Belted Galloway, and then we have a red and white one. And so some of them come out looking a little different.
Yeah.
Some will be red, some will be white, some have the white face. But we breed for grass performance because they're only grass fed here. No grain ever.
Right.
So we breed them for that, for temperament, and just doing really good here on the farm in New York. And they deal well with the winter and summers and everything.
Heat tolerance. We originally started out with Scottish Highlanders, but like today they'd already be so hot. We used to have a big shade that we had to move so that they could get under it, because they're such a thick coat that they couldn't take the heat.
Mm-hmm.
And so we phased
And so
that
these
out.
guys, some of them you can see, like big black and white one right in front. The front of them's kind of sleek, but the back he's still got some brown in there. He's still shedding his winter coat, and some of them are still shedding the winter coat. They've only been out of the barn a month.
Yeah, we won't disturb him if we move up, will we?
No. His name is Bubba. He was actually hand raised, so he's a little friendly, but we don't really handle him that much.
Bubba?
We go out there and walk around him and stuff. We usually will let a pasture rest a minimum of 30 days. And we prefer 60 to 90 days. So that means there won't be any cows on a pasture for that long of a time. That allows us to really heavily impact it when they're here if we want them to, but it also allows the grass to fully recover. And as you can see, our grass is usually pretty tall. When they first came out on pasture, it was like 8 to 10 inches tall. And then it takes off and it grows really, really fast with tons of rain.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't hardly keep up with it, can they? Can they actually keep up with it?
Well, some of it's starting to go to seed head, which is fine with us.
Yeah.
Because actually we'll reseed the pasture. They're eating it. But they're, whatever they don't eat here today, we wanted to either they ate it or they stomped it into the ground and pooped and peed on it. So you can see where we were. They've done that.
They're not going to do anything with this.
They won't be back on this field to probably 45 to 60 days.
Yeah.
Nothing will touch this,
Yeah.
except us walking through there and the birds and stuff. So it's going to really allow it to recover. And when the grass gets nice and tall, whatever's above ground, you've got about the same amount of root going in the ground. So if your grass is 3 feet tall, you've got 3 feet of roots deep down. So last year when we were in drought conditions, we didn't have trouble at all. We had more grass than we could handle. Everything was doing what it was supposed to do because the ground was dry up close to the surface. And our roots were so deep, they were down in the damp ground and drawing moisture from there. Mm-hmm. And the grass kept on growing.
welcome back to American Family Farmer. I'm your host, Mark Russ. We're here out in near Cazenovia, and we're going to take time for some tractor talk, right? Talk about your tractor. Your name is? Cameron, and my name is Mark. Glad to meet you. Thanks for having us out at the farm, Cameron. This is, you said a 40s or 50 vintage?
1951 Farm-All Cub.
1951 Farm-All Cub. Now, I spend literally an hour or more a week easily dreaming about tractors and so on. Is this a choice you had? Did you have, how did you come about buying this one in particular?
I found, actually, I'm still trying to get it. I found one sitting in a shed and I thought it was kind of interesting, and then she just happened to drive by this one sitting by the road for sale.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of come to get this one, and then
I've been seeing these go for a couple grand. I've been seeing them go for a couple grand.
More than that.
Easily.
They're like five now. They've gone up so high.
Yeah.
I got it pretty reasonably cheap.
So it's a Farm-All.
Yeah. International. McCormick International Farm-All was the model, the series, their cultivation series for cultivating row crops.
That's what this right?
Yeah, that's for cultivating. And because they had, that's what it was designed for, was cultivating row crops. This was basically designed for vegetables. Cultivating. This is a one row. They made them up to, I think, 4 rows different.
Yeah.
But like this, you could get. It wasn't just for that. They went, like I have a snow plow for it. It was original. Garden plows, cultivators, sickle bar mower. I have just about all the attachments.
Is it a gasoline?
Yes, gasoline.
And you said it's under 20 horsepower.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember now. I think it was it's quoted 12 horsepower. Most today's lawnmowers say more than that. This has got a lot more power than a lawnmower.
Right, my John Deere has the 12, but this is both. Is it rear wheel or 4 wheel?
Rear wheel.
Rear wheel. Yeah. And how many different attachments? You mentioned a few that you have, but what is that? Like a half a dozen other attachments? It must have a lot.
There were so many prototypes and things that are very scarce. There was probably over 100 attachments.
Yeah.
Haven't found it yet.
Huh?
Knock on wood, but the hawks haven't found it yet.
They must not be doing their job then.
So we grind everything fresh. We know what's in the ingredient. We can change the ingredients for their stage of life so they get the right protein amount.
Right.
And then
how old are these?
These are 5 weeks old. So they'll be butchered, I think, 3 weeks.
So a couple months, and they for what do they call millet? No, what's the name for the meat?
Cornish cross is what these are.
These are Cornish cross?
Yep, Cornish crosses. Pretty much the standard for any of the meat chickens. There's a few other ones out there, but this is pretty much a standard. They work really well for us. These houses are movable with a couple of carts, and they're moved to fresh grass every day. So there's no floors in there.
Right.
So they're always on grass.
Yeah.
And we just keep moving the house through this pasture.
A couple people on each side, one on each side?
Usually one person can do it. Sometimes the grass gets tall, it needs a second person because they drag. They're a little heavy. They're actually made out of silo rods from old silos.
Ooh.
That have been welded together.
And what
so
do they?
We don't throw
what do
away
they
too
run?
much.
Oh,
we made these.
You made them.
Matt and Cameron made these.
You made them.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So we had old silos, wood silos are coming down all over the place, and we just get the rods.
Man.
And just made up a jig to bend them like this. We made them out of that because, well, it was inexpensive. It was free steel.
So you're repurposing the steel.
Repurposing it, but sometimes with some of the different range houses that have designs, they become really good sails in high wind. And there's nothing worse than when you watch your chicken house blow away.
And what's the west that way? South is this way.
Yep.
That's the west?
West.
So you get a nice west wind
We
here.
get a nice west wind and it can blow them.
Yeah.
So they don't with this. They've been through heavy winds. But we just had, what, 60, 70 mile an hour winds last
I
week.
like that. That just gave me an idea.
And they're just covered with billboard tarps. So far the hawks haven't found out they're here. They spend a lot of time in their house. The hawk hasn't really figured out that they're here. And then they'll see something flying around and they'll run for their house. Sometimes you get one that's not so bright and they'll stay out, but usually they run for their house for protection. But there's bald eagles around. Luckily the bald eagles have been staying at the lake fishing down there. They haven't come up here to bother us. We do have owls around at night, so that's why we secure them inside at night, so they don't need to be owl snacks. Owls love chicken.